Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Small Bear Show. I am your host, Alex S. Johnson, aka Small Bear, and I run Nocturnicorn Books here in Carmichael. It's a suburb of Sacramento. And my special guest today is none other than LL Soares. And so I'm really fortunate to have Lauren on board. He's a Bram Stoker Award-winning author. He's been in many, many prestigious anthologies, and he's the author of what is the, the you won the Bram Stoker for
For
Life
Life Rage.
Life Rage, yeah.
Yeah.
And we were just actually talking before about our mutual, admiration for and friendship with Paul M. Salmon, who was the creator of, among other things. I mean, what hasn't he done, right? He literally worked on like what, Conan the Barbarian, Blade Runner, wrote, whatever. He's kind of like a legend. And but he first got on my radar because I'm friends with Thomas S. Roche, and Thomas, I was doing a series of interviews with back in it's like more than 30 years ago with people like now Billy Martin, Poppy Z. Bright, and um, Krista Faust, Nancy Kilpatrick, and so I, I guess that's how I got on Paul's radar because um, Thomas mentioned, me to him, and he said, "Well, Alex should interview me." And he wasn't sure. Yeah, Craig Spector. Craig
Oh,
Spector
cool. Yeah.
was the first. Yeah, so I met Craig, in like '94, and he kind of introduced me to, David J. Scow and R.C. Matheson and all the guys, And I was also friends on a social basis with the John Skip, and so I would just see him around town or whatever, or at parties. And so that's how I kind of got into it, but mostly because of I I knew that I needed to do an apprenticeship and I needed to get my craft together before I could start writing stories. I also had to have things, life experience to write about, and I really hadn't had a whole lot of life experience at that point. So I just, I did I thought, well, I'll ask people, it's like I've always been in love with Poppy Z. Bright's work, especially, ever since Swamp Fetus. And then, of course, I had an advanced reading copy of uh of Lost Souls. And so I just thought I'd ask people, how do you do it? And they told me, and I would take notes, and I just said, okay, so I'll take this from this person and that from that person, and I'll try to see. One of the things I really learned from Poppy Billy is is how to use sensual immersion, like
Yeah.
like
Billy's really good at that. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, just like seeing how you can have a character. I mean, he's probably the best. I think probably one of the best. I always think he's one of the best writers alive. I mean, in any genre, because these people exist at some dimension. That his characters are real people,
Well,
right?
they sure seem that way on the page. Yeah.
They do,
Yeah.
and they become like your best friends. I don't know how you feel about the Liquor series, but um,
I've read only a couple of books in that. I enjoyed it, but I do enjoy the earlier stuff better as
yeah,
far as
yeah,
horror. And I really enjoyed like Lost Souls and Drawing Blood and stuff, but Exquisite Corpse was the one that really was my favorite.
right,
It was like a real pioneering effort as far as the whole extreme horror thing. And I thought it was just perfect.
yeah. Yeah, there's so many and what's even more remarkable is that he never he did it all by research, like he's never been to India either, but he did evoked, what's it in Calcutta Horror is just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that great story. Yeah.
is right. And I mean, speaking of Billy, I was just watching because I'm doing this. I don't know how we if you're interested in contributing to the my David Bowie tribute, but I was doing some like a deep dive. I was thinking which of Billy's stories I would want to acquire for for that book. And then I remembered that he had a story that was adapted for the Hunger series that was,
On
produced
Showtime.
by
Yeah.
by Ridley Scott and Tony
Yeah.
Scott. And I was thinking, well, it's presented by Bowie. I mean, it was perfect. And it's for the Dream Sentinel. And I watched that and I was like, so I just recall how impressed I was initially by his short stories. You know,
But yeah, Billy Martin, as far as style and everything else, I I always thought he was like this really great mix of horror and like really literary fiction.
yeah,
Very emotional, very strong emotions, very
yeah.
strong use of sensuality, like you said, like but not just visual, like all the senses. And I just thought that I mean Lost Souls is great. I love all the books, but like I said, I especially appreciated Exquisite Corpse just because how dark it went. It was definitely the
Right?
darkest thing Billy ever did. But everything Billy does is great.
Everything, everything.
Yeah.
And the new, like, I really want to get my mitts on the new Stephen King book, right? That's just like, it's, like what Brian Keene and Christopher Golden
Yeah,
and
stories based on The
oh my,
Stand. Yeah.
oh my God, that's just like a dream come true. Yeah. So, what was I thinking? So, yeah. So. You mentioned the literary quality, and I totally agree because I have a degree in, I have two degrees. I have a master's degrees in English literature, but I also have a, BA in comparative literature, and with French and German and English, and so I love, the decadence period. I love, Baudelaire, Rimbaud. Maybe that's more symbolist, but all those writers of that era. And I know that Billy really, really digs that stuff. And so when I interviewed him for Death Realm magazine, 95 or 96, and I asked him, um, like first I asked, what kind of literary kind of heritage he's for part of, and he said, "Let it sounds like you're wanting me to admire myself." Right. In that, quintessential. I've never spoken with Billy Martin, Billy Martin as opposed to Poppy Z. Brite, but I can imagine he's he is Poppy Z. Brite. And and I said, I mean that you seem to have draw a lot from, you know, certainly have a lot of resonance with writers like Rimbaud and Baudelaire. And he said, "Oh, I love Rimbaud and Baudelaire." And so I thought, cool, because so do I. And then one of the things that really impressed me about Paul Salmon, was that he dedicated Splatterpunk's extreme horror to Andre Breton, the Pope of Surrealism. So I
Yeah,
thought,
really.
here's
Yeah.
a guy who really gets it.
Yeah. If you want me to go into my background a little bit, I was more into science fiction, I guess, in my 20s.
Yes.
And the big thing that really affected me was probably before my time, though. I was heavily into the new wave of science fiction from the 60s and 70s. And I always thought that the Dangerous Vision books were like the best anthology series ever. And I just liked the way that a lot of really writers who had like a very strong background and were very well known were in that series and took chances that they hadn't
Hmm.
taken before. And it kind of brought science fiction into the adult world in a lot of ways. And what kind of took me away from science fiction and brought me into horror really were two things. First of all was Clive Barker. This was like in the 90s, I guess, and the Books of Blood had just come out, and
Yeah,
they were a really big deal. And I always liked, I guess, people like Stephen King, but Clive Barker went in a direction um, as far as dealing with a lot of psychological ideas and decadence and so forth that I didn't think anybody else had really done before.
hmm,
And that really connected with me. The other thing was the splatterpunk books
yeah,
by Salmon.
yes,
Um, Basically, I used those books in a way. I think they were mostly reprints, but I used them in a way to discover horror at the time.
really,
Um, I checked out most of the writers in those books
yeah,
and became a fan of most of them and continued reading them. People, everybody from Skip Inspector
right, yeah,
to Richard Lehman to um, Ray Garton.
yes.
You can just go
Rest in
Kathy
peace, right?
Koja. You can go
Yeah,
on and on and on.
yeah.
There were so many great writers in those collections that who were introduced to me that way. That's why I appreciate the Salmon books so much because I really thought that they brought like a dangerous element that the Dangerous Visions books had brought to science fiction.
Yeah,
You think horror would be dangerous to begin with, but for the
right.
most part, at that time, um, it was pretty calm. And the Splatterpunks and Clive Barker really seemed to open things up into a new direction that I really found exciting. My other
What do you, I'm just, what,
sure.
what do you think? Because I was just recalling that, there was a great roundtable discussion. I think it may have been in the South Bank show, a while back. And all I remember, it had Ramsey Campbell and, Clive Barker were on this panel, and they were sitting down to eat. Maybe you've seen it, right? And Ramsey was the only one who was actually eating, you know. And
No, I
then
haven't seen this. Yeah.
and then and then Clive was saying, he was making a distinction between, like, the horror that came before, and then which he characterized as kind of like like right bank horror, meaning more like, where the monsters are, you know, are on the outside, and you're like Wayne Allen Sally always talks about the villagers with pitchforks, right? You're hunting for the monster, and I think the difference between with Clive and Skip Inspector and like Krista Faust was talks about writing from the standpoint of the victim, so when you identify with the monster, and was more like left bank horror. How do you
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
distinction between pre Clive Barker and and post Clive Barker?
Well, I think I've kind of already gone over that about
Okay,
how like he's gone in a different direction.
right.
I guess um I guess it also goes back to my other big influence,
Hmm.
which I guess you would call transgressive fiction or
Yeah,
so forth. I'm talking about people like Henry Miller, Charles Bukowski,
he big time. Yeah,
definitely William S. Burroughs.
yes,
William S. Burroughs transcends genre really. Um, there were so many great writers who really pushed the envelope. I guess I've always enjoyed that is writers who just go, too far maybe or
right.
just to the edge. And I definitely was receptive to that in work by people like Barker.
Hmm.
And I mean it definitely carries on that whole mentality and that whole feeling.
Hmm.
And so I mean I was kind of a mix, and also I was heavily when I was in high school and so forth, I was really heavily into punk rock.
Oh,
um
yeah, me too.
that was a time period when I was in high school was when the Sex Pistols came out, the Clash, the Jam, I mean the first wave really. And uh in a way to me that was poetry. That was the lyrics of punk songs were poetry for me. And I'm heavily into like the Fall.
Sure.
all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and then later on even hardcore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
music
I
was a
can
big
feel
part of
that.
it too.
I can
Yeah.
feel that in your work. A close friend of mine, Ellen Mabey, was actually, you know, um, published by Rollins, and she was in,
Oh, great. Yeah, yeah.
she got into she was introduced to Rollins by Exene Cervenka.
All right, that makes sense.
So
Well, it's part of the LA hardcore
yeah,
scene. Yeah.
yeah, I love punk rock. No, please continue. I'm sorry. I just wanted to.
So
Yeah,
basically, like
yeah,
everything I was into
yeah.
was basically envelope pushing
Right,
and decadence and you know trying to make people uncomfortable and things like that. So
right.
it all kind of congealed and it all I mean it's all really connected.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and like about 3 years ago, I got a friend request from Carrie Lee Chrome, who co-founded the Runaways, with Joan Jett, and we started talking, and like we even wrote some songs together. So it was like it was an amazing experience. But and then I published her in like a couple of the books. Um,
Oh, the Runaways were great. Yeah.
the Runaways, yeah. I mean, they were really, and we could talk about a lot of things that we could talk about all day. So I was thinking, so you're talking about like, transgressive boundary pushing. We're talking about Burroughs, we're talking about Barker, we're talking about, Billy Martin. And
Also in the 90s too, just to bring this up too,
yeah,
was the cinema of transgression. I'm talking
right,
about like Lydia Lunch and Nick
right,
Zedd
yeah,
and Richard Kern and people like
yes,
that too. I was into all that too. So I mean, anything that had that flavor to it, I definitely was
yeah.
into. Yeah.
What is that? So I'm trying to nail that down, so to speak, right? But what do you think is so? Clive Barker famously said there are no limits, but there are and remain a lot of gatekeepers in our genre. I remember being on the Caitlin Arquierna's PZB forum on the old Genie server in the 90s, and there were people who were just appalled that a Poppy Z Bride existed. And there still are people who are sort of like who don't get it. And then there are people who sort of
That makes no sense to me because I always thought Poppy Z Bright fiction was like beautiful.
it is.
I don't understand why anybody would have a problem with it.
Well, I mean, people were claiming that the bad characters weren't punished and it didn't have a, you
So
know,
what? Yeah, I
right?
mean, yeah, who cares?
Who cares, right?
Still another thing that was an influence to me was a lot of the really pulp crime fiction of the 50s and
Hmm.
60s, especially
Yeah.
Jim Thompson, David Goodis, people like that too.
I just
And I'm
happened to
quite sure a
have
lot of in their stuff, a lot of times people didn't get punished.
I was in this book with people like Ada von Belcom, and this is my friend Thomas S. Roche. This it's the noir erotica. It's erotic noir.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about, right? No, I'm sorry. I'm just
No, I mean we're just kind of riffing. There's
it's
there's
cool. It's
there's so
cool.
many
Yeah. So
things we could talk about because it sounds like we're both into a lot of these different things.
I mean, I just put out my latest collection is called the Candy Fontaine Chronicles, being the adventures of a slutty detective. And I had I work with a guy named Adrian Baldwin in England, and he works with, Phantasmagoria magazine. And he's really good at like these vintage pulp looking covers. So he
Oh,
he
cool.
did me this incredible cover. I want to send you this book. I want to do a little exchange, a book exchange, and I want to know of all your books, which one, because I want to send you some. I want to buy you one of your books for you to sign. So, where would you recommend that I start with you?
Well, to be honest, a couple of years ago, my short story collection came out, Something Blue and Other Colorful Deaths
Oh,
from
cool.
Trepidatio Publishing. And it's pretty much a career spanning collection, starting with the first pro sale I ever made back in 2001. all the way up to some new stuff that hadn't been collected before. So
What was that? Where was the pro sale?
it was to GothicNet,
Oh my God.
which was a website. Yeah,
I know. I did
they
something.
were really great.
I interviewed Gitan Damone for Gothic.net. Yeah. And that
Oh,
was a
yeah,
trip.
GothicNet was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it gives a pretty good overview of my career, all different kinds of fiction, and it's I think it's a pretty good introduction
Okay,
if you
cool.
haven't read my stuff before.
Okay, so
Um,
it's so the title is it's
Something Blue.
something blue. Yeah, I will definitely buy that for you. And then if you could sign it, that would
Sure,
be
but
freaking
yeah, but I
great.
mean the novels too. The most recent one was Teach Them How to Bleed, which is
Hmm.
my take on a vampire concept.
Yeah,
Um, I'm always hung up on trying to be original,
right.
and so even when I do vampires, I kind of do them in a completely different way.
Yeah.
It's just me. I'm just hung up on that shit. I'm
Yeah,
always like,
sure.
I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be different.
Yeah,
So and I'm actually thinking about maybe doing a sequel to that. And
really
Life
exciting.
Rage is the one that it's out of print right now. I'm in the
Yeah.
process of trying to get it back in print. That's the one that won the Stoker, my first novel.
Yeah.
And I also have several stories and a novel about a city called Blue Clay,
Oh,
which is
nice.
kind of like my Arkham. It's um it's a city in Massachusetts that's about 100,000 people,
Hmm.
and but it's nothing like Arkham. It's
Okay.
much more modern, much more has like I'm into Bukowski and Miller and all that stuff, so there's like a seedy underbelly of it and things like that too.
I freaking love those guys. In fact,
Yeah, so
I actually got into a was a chat book with Bukowski.
seriously,
Yeah, seriously,
oh,
man.
that's wild.
It's
Yeah,
like yeah. So my friend Catfish McDarris, he put together this thing. This was actually after Bukowski had died, but he was friends with Jack Mitchellline, and Jack Mitchellline sent him a bunch of poems, and he sent him some Bukowski poems with them, and Catfish like published these, So this is the original. This is what the original chapbook, right?
oh
And then
cool.
like last year, he did a special edition. It's called Newington Blue um, press in Germany, and they had like some more people. They brought on some more people to sort of paying homage to Bukowski, and so like I got into this little. I mean, I'm cheek by jowl with the Buke himself, which is just you can I die now? This is
Yeah, really.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, so that whole kind of hard-boiled, gritty, I mean, he's funny as hell too, right?
Oh God, yeah, and so is Burroughs. I think
Burroughs is
Burroughs was a
hysterically
total
funny.
comedian,
Yeah,
and people don't give him enough credit for that. He even called like a lot of his little, not stories, but he called them like sketches.
right,
Like
exactly.
they were like these little comedy things, but they were so dark that I guess most people didn't understand that they were supposed to be funny.
Right. And then apparently if you read it's in the movie which
In Naked Lunch,
yeah, recently they
the
came
Cronenberg movie.
queer, but
Oh, Queer. Okay.
if you have you read Queer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I read it when it was like released like after he had died. So
Exactly.
yeah, I read it when it first came out.
It was so he did all these routines because to impress this young man he was in love with, but was kind of fickle and played with his heart. And so he
Yeah, the
felt
movie's really good too.
I rented the movie. I'm actually bought the movie. I haven't really watched it yet. But but so the real story is that he was trying to impress this young man who was just like kind of, shallow and not really into him at all. And he was an older guy. And so he started, how sometimes when you know that you're just really wiping out. You kind of double down on the behavior that's you know causing people to reject you, just be almost like in a self whatever.
Well, that's the other thing about a lot of the stuff I'm into, and it
Exactly.
sounds like you too, is a lot of it is a big, fuck you to the world too.
Right. So
That's definitely part of the attitude.
what so do I call you Lauren or LL or what's
Doesn't matter.
okay, so Lauren, where does that come from for you? That you know,
I don't know. It just was something I was always drawn to.
yeah.
Um, I guess part of it maybe is feeling like an outcast growing up.
Okay.
But you know, it was kind of weird. If I really wanted to, I could have fit in. I just didn't want to.
Okay.
I thought, every the other kids and all and everyday life was kind of sucky. And I
Yeah,
didn't
right.
really like it.
Yeah.
And I
This
got
is
into
like
punk
looking
and
in
I
the
got into
mirror,
all
man.
this fiction because
Yeah.
I was kind of rejecting everything.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm a straight white old guy.
Yeah.
It's not like I have a lot of bona fides I can, talk about being outcast by society. But at the same time, I always felt like a real kinship with people,
Yeah.
like Burroughs, like Poppy Z. Bright,
Right.
people who were more on the fringe.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
me,
didn't
me
relate to the
too.
people who were running things and who
I know,
were,
right?
everybody was looking up to. I just didn't get it.
Have you ever seen the movie William S. Burroughs A Man Inside?
No, I don't think so.
It's really, really good. It's available on YouTube for free. But they interviewed John Waters, and he was talking about how in his quintessential John Waters way, he was saying that Burroughs didn't even fit in with gay people,
No, he didn't.
right?
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
said
yeah.
that
He didn't fit in with anybody.
the whole, Waters said that the whole purpose of art is to like ruin things. And I
I
thought,
totally get that.
you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, I just think
Just destroy. I don't
well,
know.
yeah, right. I mean,
Culturally. Yeah.
culturally, yeah, not
I'm,
culturally.
I'm, I'm not going
We're
out
not
hurting
talking about
anybody.
like Molotov
Yeah,
cocktails.
yeah.
I have a friend. This is you'll fucking love this because I have a friend. So you ever seen the movie speaking of punk rock, Decline of Western
Oh,
Civilization,
yeah, yeah,
one, right?
definitely.
Penelope Spheris, right? So I'm friends with the light bulb kid, with the Japanese dude.
I
Okay,
haven't seen the movie in a long time. I don't remember who the light bulb kid
we'll
is.
rewatch it and you'll see, oh my God, that's what Alex is talking about. So this is this guy, Kenny De Silva. He's comes from this old like it's a Portuguese family name, but he's Japanese. And his parents were very rich. He is like an anarchist, man. Like he started a riot or he was part of an infamous riot in like the early 90s where he was like fucking throwing Molotov cocktails
Oh
through
my God, yeah.
cop cars, the LAPD patrol cars. I mean, the man, he's really, really nice, and I think he's kind of gay, but I never really, like, you don't really ask people. He's got blue hair, and he's pretty much gay, but he's also very Christian. He's kind of, interesting guy. But I did an interview with him. Most of the interview, he was saying, "Now don't publish this or whatever." But the thing about like, starting the riot with throwing the Molotov cocktails through the LAPD patrol car, and that is something that comes up in the movie because the LAPD were like cracking down on punk rock,
Oh,
and
totally. Yeah. It
the
was like
whole
a
thing
war
about it.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, like freedom of expression. And I was like I knew Lemmy. I didn't know him well, but I knew him like from my best friend at the time was his publicist. And I was actually backstage in 2011 at the Nokia Theater in LA. I was literally backstage, and they brought out. He's like, okay, I'm bringing out, a friend of mine, right? And they would always have like a guest singer on Killed by Death because that's
Okay.
their kind of their signature tune, right? And so I'd like to bring out a friend of mine. Okay, the crowd's going fucking ape shit, right? And then he's like, okay, this is your friend and mine, Sherry Curry. And of course, people are dying, and then she had such, like chops. I mean, she was able to like, hold her own with Lemmy, which just I mean,
That must have been really interesting.
it
Yeah.
was so cool, man. I mean,
Did you read her book about being in the
yes, I
Runaways?
did. And as a
And it,
matter of fact, I had just read that book. And so I was able to, like, I saw her backstage and I was
yeah,
sort of
she was
like,
the coolest. Yeah.
do I talk to Sherry Curry? Or I was actually kind of shy about that. And it was not anything like, I mean, I've interviewed everybody, including Lemmy, like 4 times, but I just felt there was something about her that you know, kind of turned me off. And now that I know that she's MAGA, I sort of know
Oh,
why.
I didn't know that. But
It was kind
the
of
thing I
like
thought was cool about her was the whole chain. She used
the
to the
chainsaw
chainsaw sculptures and
culture.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah, she was
I
cool.
I
Yeah.
gotta I
I mean,
gotta
she is
hand
cool. Yeah.
I gotta hand it to her. You know what I
Sweet.
really like Lita Ford
Yeah,
is
I like Lita Ford a lot
is
too.
so badass. I mean, she
And she
her
did stuff with Lemmy. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I love like strong women. Obviously,
Well,
if you
my favorite is Lydia Lunch.
Lydia Lunch.
And you can't get stronger than that. I
Lydia
mean, she would
Lydia
crack a guy in the face if she
Lydia
wanted
is so badass. It's just like,
to. Totally.
like I knew I did this magazine called Juggernaut, the magazine of extreme music, right? And for the first 2 issues, I had the first issue was Karen Crisis. Have you ever heard of Crisis Band or they were on the soundtrack to Dee Snider's Strangeland,
No, I
and
don't think
they
so.
did
Yeah.
a cover of Stay Away from Captain Howdy. And for the second one, Terry B. Terry B. Murphy from who's from like My Ruin, and she was signed to Eazy-E's label from NWA, and she's a really cool. I mean, really, really amazing. So I would recommend checking out Terry B. Murphy, because because she was able to hold her own with Eazy-E. That's not for a white woman. You're talking about, you know, I mean, she's
No, no, the whole time period
she's
in hip
still
hop was
really
really cool too. Yeah.
she's still really, really good. I've been sort of
I mean, in
trying.
a lot of ways, rap was it was very similar to punk.
It
It was the
was.
same kind of message, same kind of reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is one of the great things about music is that it brings people together, it brings genres together. The musicians like David Bowie were always, you know, were always bringing people together, and he was
That's
especially
true. That's true.
right. Like
Yeah, I really was a big Bowie fan, but I was even more of a big Lou Reed fan.
yes,
And Bowie pretty much, after the Velvets broke up, Bowie pretty much took Lou Reed under his wing and helped him stage a comeback.
he did.
And his solo stuff, especially the early stuff with Bowie, was incredible.
I really liked that the whole Berlin period,
And Iggy Pop too. We're talking
and
about too.
and
But
also
basically, the three of them, yeah, in
three
Berlin,
of
yeah.
them. There was a really good book that was written about that whole era. So Your Pretty Face has something that's the song Your Pretty Face has got to go or something like that.
Or your
It's
pretty face is going to hell, or
Your
something like
Pretty
that.
Face is
Yeah,
going to hell. Thank
it's
you.
that's not it. I
Well,
think I
no,
got it wrong,
but
but it's
it is
close.
it though.
Yeah,
It is it. So
yeah.
that's the title of the book, and I forget the name of the journalist, but I highly recommend it because it goes into like all that stuff. Also, I'm friends with, and I actually interviewed him for the book, for the Bowie book, which, we're doing 2 volumes. So if you feel inspired in any way to do a Bowie story, but Tony Zanetta. was the not only the road manager for Ziggy Stardust and uh, Diamond Dogs, but he was also the president of Main Man Entertainment.
Oh,
And he played, check this out, he played Andy Warhol in Andy Warhol's Pork.
okay.
So that whole there's an interesting nexus because I'm also like literally cousins with Bibby Hansen, so from the, whatever the Edie Sedgwick and
The whole
Warhol
factory scene,
and
yeah.
the factory
I
scene.
was totally, that's another thing I was totally into too, was the whole
Yeah.
factory scene.
Yeah. I mean, and there's really, really interesting connections if you sort of connect the dots between Bowie, Burroughs, Warhol,
Everything is connected.
Nico,
Yeah.
Jim
Everything that we
Morrison.
love is connected somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever think like you start going down that road and then at first you think, man, this is like schizophrenia or something. Am I just seeing connections where there aren't really? But then
But
I think,
there are, though. I mean, because so many people that we're talking about were fans of each other,
right.
we're influenced by each other,
Yeah,
and depending on, what time period we're talking about and stuff, and all these things are interconnected. They're all part of the same culture.
it is part of the same
I guess you
culture.
could call it underground culture. I don't
It is
know, but it is. Yeah.
underground culture. As a matter of fact, that reminds me because I did this the Jason X spin-off novel called Jason X Death Moon in 2005. And I asked Billy permission to use this concept called reality hacking from an early version of Exquisite Corpse. And he said, I don't think I'm going to be using it again, so you're feel free to use it whatever, however you like, right? So this past year or so, I've gotten to know Ken Goffman, aka Are You Serious? And now I realize that he was the guy who came up with the reality hacking. So I really owe it all to Ken.
Oh, okay.
And he was friends with Burroughs and Trent Reznor and all these guys and
I remember
Tim
seeing a video
Leary.
once of the Dream Machine that
Oh
Burroughs made,
yeah,
where it was like it would spin around and had all these holes in it and it was all this light and everything.
yeah.
I always wanted to like make one.
I
I
know,
don't
me
know how
too,
to do
right?
it though, but I
Yeah.
always wanted one.
I love that. I love that because it really reminds me of sort of like, I'm really into, and I'm sure that this will resonate with you, like surrealism and Dada, because like the shock of the new transgression, um, I've always been looking for those images that will really sear my brain and take me to places that I wouldn't go ordinarily. This is where like the cut up method comes in. You
Yeah,
sort of
exactly. Yeah.
jamming together. I always think, like the line in Howl, hydrogen jukebox, right? You got the entire, you know, premise of thermonuclear war combined with rock and roll, and you get boom like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's like, weird drugs like ayahuasca, which I've always been interested in,
Yeah.
like have you ever
Or
tried it?
no,
No.
is what wasn't queer? Was it sage? No, it wasn't sage. It was something like that though.
Yeah.
There was a drug. Was that ayahuasca or was that something different?
Yeah, yeah. It's he and Ginsberg wrote this book called the Yahe Diaries.
Yeah, all right. That's what. Yeah, I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's the
Yeah,
yeah. I always said Yage or whatever, but it's the you're
yeah,
right. It's like Yage or something. Yeah,
yeah. And then that
those are the most interesting parts of the queer movie, by the
it
way. If
is.
you watch
Okay.
it with
I
Daniel
haven't
Craig.
I actually saw I mean I haven't I'm a huge fan of Suspiria, the remake.
Oh, all right. I love the original.
Okay.
I really like Luca's remake of it,
Yeah.
but I think the remake is almost like a totally different movie,
It is. Yeah.
and you can't really call it a remake. I think it's like it's just his own thing.
Yeah.
But like Argento's original, oh man, that's like a masterpiece.
Right. And I actually interviewed John Carpenter a while back, and he said that Suspiria was his main inspiration for Halloween, which is I guess on the surface it doesn't seem like, you know, it relates, but it's a really, I mean, the soundtrack and the music
I
and
don't know what happened to Argento, but
yeah,
there was a time in the past where he was known for like the super saturated colors and the
right.
imagery and all this stuff.
Imagery and the
And I don't know if you've seen any of his really, really recent films,
I
but
tried to.
they're not, it's not there at all. They're just very straightforward horror films.
I try. I
And I
mean,
don't know why. Like, why did he jettison all that stuff?
you know what's I think with Argento is that I'm actually a huge fan of Mother of Tears, which a lot
Oh,
of
I am
people
too. I love that
rag
movie.
on, right?
Yeah. Of his recent movies, I thought that was my favorite.
And I thought that talk about some transgression. I mean, he continues to be. I think what when people bag on him, it's like their 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 standard for horror has really been set by Argento, and they don't even realize that they're expecting Argento to be even better than he already is.
No, I always loved, I love filmmakers who use like imagery and color in really interesting ways, and he always was great at that. And
He is
music, I mean,
the
he
music.
pretty much created the whole concept of like this the synth score and all that stuff, and
Yeah,
horror, and that was all made. I love Goblin, I love all that stuff.
I love that stuff. You know who's really amazing filmmaker? Anna Taborska. Have you ever seen her stuff?
What did she make?
She's made a number of films. Now I think she's running the Rain Dance uh, festival in London, but she's got her own channel on YouTube, and she did this really poignant, amazing short film
Did
about.
she mainly make short films?
Well, no, she I mean she's made documentaries for the BBC. She's done TV dramas and she's done feature films. But this one is kind of like it's a short film about the Holocaust. It takes place during the Holocaust, and it's so short. It's got a fox in it, and it's got some ghosts. And I won't spoil it. Just go to her channel, and just
And
on
what was her name again?
well, Anna
Anna.
Taborska is the name of
Anna
the author
Taborski. Okay.
and director, but I forget the name of it's a short film. You recognize it. It's with a single. It's a person's name is the title of it,
Okay.
and she is for me like was one of the coolest people you will ever meet in horror, but also a like a a stunning film director. I, like it's like Kurosawa. The colors are so rich and
Yeah, another director who was really good at that was Peter Greenaway.
yeah,
He was incredible, like especially the cook, the thief, his wife, and her lover, where he
yeah,
had like whole rooms that were all red or all blue. I just thought
yeah.
like I love stylistic stuff like that.
Me too, man. And I was just recently that reminds me I was recently rewatching Two Evil Eyes,
With
right?
by Romero and Argento. Yeah,
Yeah. And I was really enjoying that. I mean, those are some good movies. I think that and the original Creep Show.
I miss Romero a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what are some films that you've seen recently that I should check out?
I just recently saw this movie called Weapons. I don't know if you heard about that one.
Weapons, no.
That was excellent. It's by Zach Kreger. He also did a movie called Barbarian
I've
that got a
heard
lot of
that.
attention. And I
Yeah.
guess his whole thing is he makes these movies where you don't really, he kind of surprises you. You don't really know where they're going.
Yeah.
And then which I think is really cool because I'm sick of by the numbers kind of horror movies.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. Um, I really love this guy called Panos Cosmatos who did Mandy.
Yeah.
If we're talking about stylistic directors who are really into visuals, he is amazing.
Yeah, I mean I've heard great things. I need to watch. You know what I just watched for the first time because I'm a huge fan of like I spit on your grave and the you
Like
know
the original
those
and
those
stuff. Yeah.
films. but Mayor was it Mayor's Archie or something? The director, the original I Spit on Your Grave, I mean, it was made a sequel called
Oh,
I
okay.
Spit on Your Grave Deja Vu with Camille Keaton.
Camille Keaton. Yeah, I thought that was a remake. Like I thought that was a sequel to the remake.
It's a no, it's a sequel to the original, and
Oh, okay.
it has flashbacks to the original, and I highly recommend it. I mean,
Okay.
talk about some
Yeah, I
trans
met Camille
horror.
Keaton at a convention once. She was really nice.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never. I love. I love that movie, Solange.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
That's a really cool giallo. Yeah.
I love that whole genre. Just, I mean, I don't need an excuse to go down that rabbit hole. But
Yeah.
so as far as okay, let's talk about some Jellos, man, because it started out as those pulp paperbacks, right, in the 60s.
Yeah, which were yellow, and that's why they're called giallos, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah,
And then you had like,
that's
guys
Italian for
like
yellow.
Edgar
Yeah.
Wallace and whatever. And then they always have these certain characteristics. I mean, you have numbers and animals, right? Like murder to the tune of seven,
Yeah.
you
All
know,
right. Like
dwarf
the
panthers or
iguana with the tongue of fire and stuff like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And I always like that they're weird, creepy, macabre, morbid,
And
and
they always had like these weird tropes, like the killer with the black gloves.
yes,
That you never see their face, you always see the gloves until
you're
the
right.
end, I guess,
And they're
or things like
extremely
that.
like fetishistic.
Oh,
Like
definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what I love about Argento is that he purely sacrifices any kind of he just throws out any kind of coherence for the sake of you're watching pure art because
Yeah, in his
it's
case, I
all
didn't
about
really
the
care if I
murder.
understood it. Yeah.
But
That was like secondary.
yeah,
I just wanted to watch it and just enjoy it. If it didn't make complete sense, it didn't always matter.
I mean, and the way it's like he's unapologetically a fetishist. When you see that, you see, and also the way the murders are just like, you know, the way that the late great David Lynch would use music too.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
David
like,
Lynch was great. Yeah.
what was I think, I mean, it's an Argento because when the murders happen, they're excessive, spectacular, visually insane, and he has completely unrelated like metal, songs to
Mostly synthesizer stuff. Yeah.
mostly Claudio Simonetti, yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly just like stabby synths. Like he invented the
Oh
stabby,
yeah, yeah.
trope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
another thing I'm really into movie wise was in the 2000s they had the French extremity movement,
right.
and that actually might be my favorite movement in cinema as far as horror films goes. I just thought it was right up my alley. It was more a focus on like disturbing kind of stuff rather
Yeah,
than monsters or you know jump scares and stuff like that. It was more about like very human stuff and very bleak kind of stuff that I
yeah.
love. And there's a
I,
movie called Martyrs,
Martyr, yeah, yeah.
yeah, which I thought was a masterpiece. But a lot of movies in that movement were great.
I mean, so now, again, I don't need an excuse to go down that rabbit hole. But, a really good friend of mine, and he also co-runs Nocturnicorn Books, is Dean M. Drinkle, and he's like an expert on those films. So, he's actually in the I re I sort of rebooted the original Junk Merchants because it's a whole series, and
Yeah, yeah,
I'm about to put out Junk Merchants too. So the original, the first, I guess, um, whatever, the first iteration of the Junk Merchants came out in 2016, and that had a forward by Graham Masterton, right? And so I decided and it was edited by Dean, and so I asked for those all of the files, and so I put it out. Again, it's a what is it? What do you call it? It's just like this is such an obvious everyday term. It's the second edition. Okay, it's the second edition.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I have an original piece by Carrie Lee Crum called Mootsie Tootsie, which you need this book in your life, man. I have a piece that was by Jarbo from Swans. Um,
Yeah, I love swans.
our friend Nicole H6, this guy Daniela Santagiuliani, who's does a sort of a goth industrial project called Testing Vault, and he was in Italy, and he was actually mentored by Peter Sleazy Christopherson from Coil and Throbbing
And
Gristle,
Throbbing Gristle, yeah, another
right?
great group. Yeah,
Who also directed the Happiness and Slavery video for Nine Inch Nails, right? And then
yeah.
and David J. Haskins, of course, from Bauhaus. And so this is a really like, yeah, so check it out, kids. It's The Junk Merchants, Volume 1, edited by yours truly, and a forward by Graham Masterton, and an introduction by Poppy Z. Bright. And
Cool.
it's for like $8 or $9 or so.
What was the thing you mentioned earlier with Campbell and Clyde Barker being interviewed? Was that on the
Yeah,
South
it
Bank
was
show?
just like this round table.
That sounds really cool because both of them were great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was like Clyde would say that Ramsey Campbell visited his high school and when he was just a kid and he was sort of like, who is this weirdo? Because one of the things I love about Ramsey, I mean, he's just like the best stylist on the fucking planet, but he was a huge acid head, and you can tell because his stories are so drenched in this oppressive paranoia, and bushes seem to have a life all of their own, and everything is alive and has a creepy, malevolent sort of consciousness to it.
Cool. Yeah, I gotta check that out. I gotta find that.
Yeah. So like of all of your okay, so I think we sort of track this. Let's talk about your collaboration. You did a collaborative book.
Yeah,
And
I've done a few.
yeah,
With my wife Laura Cooney,
yeah,
I've done the very first thing we ever put out was a short story collection called In Sickness. It's out of print now.
yeah,
I think it is available on Amazon on ebook, and that's about it.
yeah,
But it was basically stories by her, stories by me, and then a novella we wrote together that takes place in my city of Blue Clay.
nice.
We also collaborated on a novella called Green Tsunami
Oh
that
yeah,
takes place. It's like you know, um, after the apocalypse or whatever.
yeah.
But it's kind of an interesting take on that, and that seemed to do. A lot of people seem to really like that. I've collaborated with a lot of people. I've collaborated with Kurt Newton. We did a book called Breaking Eggs, which is more
Mhm.
like a crime fiction, maybe.
Oh, nice.
Um, let's see. I worked with Michael Aruda for over a decade on a film review column called Cinema Knife Fight that got
Yeah.
nominated for the Stoker. So I've worked with a lot of different people. Collaboration is actually pretty fun.
If
So,
you ever want to try something with me, and I'm always up for it.
well, right now I'm pretty busy, but
Okay,
we'll
cool.
see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've collaborated with people like Wayne Allen Sally, and I did actually um I and Sandy. Did you know Sandy DeLuca?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
she's
great.
she's a really good friend of mine. She and I did a book called Thunderstruck, a dark poetry collection.
Oh,
And
cool, cool. Yeah, I know she does poetry too.
yeah, she's really she's
Oh,
a
she's excellent.
she's
Yeah.
a sweetie pie. Um, so yeah, so like going back to, and there's so many things like so okay, so what's it what's like not everybody can can collaborate. Like I know Billy and Ramsey tried to
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not everything works. Yeah.
what is the magic for you with like your wife, for example?
I don't know. We're just totally in tune. When we try to collaborate, it
Yeah.
usually comes out really good. I can't really explain why. Maybe because we know each other so well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree though. Sometimes things have gone real easy with people, and other times it just didn't work. It's really funny how that goes.
Yeah. I want to talk about something that might be a little bit controversial, but this is something that Brian Keene famously brought up, and awards and organizations like HY. I mean, there's certainly like some of my favorite people in the world have are Stoker Award winners, and I've had a number of Stoker award-winning authors in my books, but there's also the sense that has been criticized by the likes of Harlan Ellison and by Keene, who goes kind of seems to go back and forth on this, but that organizations like HWAR are exclusive, they're gatekeepers, and they're kind of cliques. And
Yeah, I guess I don't really have much of a response to that.
yeah,
I've been a member of the HWA since
yeah,
2000. I
yeah,
don't, I've seen administrations that were good,
right,
administrations that were bad.
yeah,
I mean, it not really part of it because of that. I was just part of it for the community.
yeah.
So stuff like that really never mattered to me that
Okay,
much.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah. And as far as awards go, I mean, the two guys you named have won awards, a lot of awards.
yeah,
So it's like a double-edged thing. I mean,
right,
yeah, it's great to have awards. Do awards matter so that like are you only good if you win awards? No,
yeah,
that's bullshit. So
right, exactly,
if you win something, hey, I mean, I consider it like icing on the cake.
right,
If you get like a little treat like that, you take it.
right,
But do you need it? No.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay, so we're talking about earlier in the interview, we are talking about how we were talking about like the whole idea of transgression and going beyond. Is there anything that you consider to be off limits?
Um, I guess not really. I'm not a fan of maybe putting like pedophilia or something
Right,
into a
yeah,
storyline. I mean,
yeah,
it's just a personal thing. I'm not
right.
like eager to add that kind
Exactly.
of an element.
Yeah,
But otherwise, I think everything's pretty much on the table.
yeah,
There's nothing that's off. I mean, that's basically it, is the whole idea of just, transgression and for example, I'm really into a lot of extreme horror writers, people
right.
like Ed Lee
Me
and
too.
Wrath James White
Me
and
too.
people
Yeah,
like that. I personally don't write extreme horror.
yeah,
I think I write my own thing. I'm really hung up on like just being me and just
yeah,
having my own kind of voice.
yeah.
But there are extreme elements, and I do love extreme horror. So I mean, um, there are things that other people would do maybe to go past the line that I wouldn't do, but that doesn't mean I'm against it. It's just a personal choice, I guess.
I actually, believe it or not, I wrote a LL Soares homage. Um, uh, so is this in this one? It's oh yeah, okay. So I'm gonna read. This is my homage to you. It's called "When the Food Is Gone" for Pickles. When the food is gone, everyone will eat each other. LL Soares.
Oh yeah, I think you posted that one, so I think I saw that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone on your marks. Get upset. Stop. No, now go. Sorry if you may have misunderstood the instructions. I like to think of myself as a clear communicator, but whatever. The thing of the deal is that there's a kitty introduced into the environment, a sweet little kitty. That was an actual cat that Pickles has, and that was a sort of a real, in real life, real time cut up, like introducing
Okay. All right. All
an
right.
animal into the poem. When the food is gone, the tendency to ingest anything available will become overwhelming. Tendons will bulge, blood vessels will be fit to burst, and the main vein will pop like humanity in the pressure cooker of sheer overwhelming time, which is a little, you know, Easter egg to, minutes to go.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So anyway, that's my homage.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow. Let's see.
I think we're just about at that point,
Just
huh?
about at that point. So really appreciate your taking the time to talk
Sure.
with me. And
Nice talking to you.
yeah, so I do want to I think so of your books, I do want to buy you um a copy of your own book. And I think was it we were talking about something blue?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna buy you a something blue to autograph, and then I'll, pay for the shipping and handling.
Okay, sure, sure.
Okay, cool. And so for my five viewers, how can they get in touch with you?
Um, I'm actually not on a lot of places.
Okay.
I do have a website, llsoares.com.
Hmm.
I haven't updated it in a while. I really need to. I am on Facebook. Just look for me. Um,
Okay.
I used to be on I joined Blue Sky, but I really haven't been on it very much.
Yeah.
And I don't really go on X very much. Basically, Facebook is the main place to find me, I guess, because that's where all my friends are, and that's basically where I go the most.
Yeah.
Only because I have a day job, I have other things going on. I just don't have a lot of time.
What do you do for your day job, if you can talk?
Um, I work in a marketing department,
Interesting.
writing like technical kind of proposals and things like that.
Does
Like a
does it
writer editor kind of thing. It's nothing really to do with fiction at all, but
does
it
it
does involve writing and editing, so that's
does it
fine.
kind of frustrate you that you're champing at the bit ever to get back to fiction, or does it completely um
Um, well, it pays the bills. I
okay,
can't pay my bills with the fiction,
that's
so
true. Yeah.
and it has health insurance and so
That's
I'm not
awesome.
complaining. I love the fact that I'm employed, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
put that down.
I'm not
But
going to put that down. I
it is
understand.
tough, though. I admit, like sometimes after working all day, it is tough to sit down at the computer still
Right.
and write. So that's something I need to really get back into the habit of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but certainly, I mean, I'm fascinated with marketing. I do a lot of I'm constantly trying to because I work through Amazon, and bookstores will not carry Amazon books, so I'm constantly up and doing these, trying these different promotions. Oh yes, a collective paw. I need to send you a collective paw. You don't have one, right?
I do. I got my own. I got a
Okay.
couple of copies.
Um,
Yeah.
did you do a selfie with collective paw?
I don't think so.
Can you?
Yeah, I can do that at some point.
Okay,
Yeah, sure.
sweet. Okay, great. Okay, my friend, it was really awesome talking with you, and I'm sure
It's good talking to you
we'll,
too.
yeah, we'll pick this up later on. Okay. All right.
Sounds good. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care of yourself.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.